Hey folks, Green Stuff Gav here. Now we're back with another Advent challenge. If you haven't seen previously, is a very good friend of mine, Graham, recommended one year we do an Advent challenge because wargamers don't get Advent calendars. We'd paint a mini every day for Advent. Now, I've carried this on for the last couple of years. I pick random miniatures throughout the collection, get them sprayed up, and then paint them one per day. So we'll take some time, have a bit of a look at the minis, and there'll be close-ups on the website. Now, these are from a wide range of different companies, manufacturers, and yeah, it's just fun to do some extra minis for different colours I wouldn't normally do, as well as, you know, clear the backlog. Now, we started with this mini, a 3D print from a company I'll link below. They did an Undead version of the Dungeons and Dragons minis. So this being the Rogue, I printed her in semi-clear resin. So I don't know if you can see behind, it changes. This is semi-translucent. And she was actually painted all with contrast paints, which I don't do a lot of. So this was another excuse to try different techniques and different things I don't normally do. The key with the contrasts is when you do a colour, let it dry, then do the next one. Otherwise they bleed together. So yeah, that was interesting. Right there. We followed with Twin Goddess Miniatures, a company I really like. They do sculpts and then you print them yourself. I'm currently painting Amazons for the old world to use as marauders. And this looks like a lovely marauder with a girt massive axe. So we've got this fairly straightforward paint job just because she'll be lost in the rank and file. But really characterful sculpt, really big, really nice details. Something typical of the Twin Goddess. Now, we pull all minis randomly, so we also pulled another Twin Goddess mini. This time, a 75mm Goblin Cleric, or the like. Now, I've been working on a talisman set at a larger scale, and I thought she'd fit in ideal. Fairly straightforward paints, just the blacks, the whites, obviously that lovely green for the skin. But again, all this detail, if you were to print this at 25mm or 32, you wouldn't get any of these details. So it's quite nice to paint some larger scale minis now and then. We followed up with someone that raids tombs. Totally not Lara Croft. I believe this was Mayhem Minis from a long while back. But she sat floating around the box for quite a time. Although she's modelled after the Legend remake, or perhaps your Angelina Jolie's, I've painted her in the classic colours. Got some nice blending on the turquoise top there, because the original Tomb Raider was certainly one of my favourites. An actual Games Workshop mini appears. This is a Rogue Trader Space Marine with a chainsword. No doubt he'll have a name, but I'm trying to get some Rogue Trader era Marines together for my Lamenter's army. So he's been painted with extra checkerboards because he's going to be a veteran assault marine. And I used to like the little greebles they used to give all these minis back in the Rogue Trader days. Partially to cover up sculpting, partially to cover up casting, and partially just to give character. But that's a fairly straightforward paint job, but a lovely mini. Twin Goddess pop up again, but this time for my Old World Goblin army. She's not fantastically well printed because I was experimenting with a new resin, so we've lost some of the detail. I've gone for a fairly straightforward. You see this hammer is an absolute mess. But sort of like a jester style colours with the red, the white and the gold bells. But again, lovely characterful little minis. Games Workshop turn up again with a Necromunda miniature. Now this is an Horus, and I know everything has gone grim dark, but I tried to stick to sort of the 90s, 95 aesthetic. You know, the bright yellow, the bright reds, the huge colours, which was done by layering and then inking and then layering again. Fairly just metallic on the back, but the bit you'll see is lovely yellow. I might go back and add some sort of Appleseed-esque markings, towel like freehand on there, but that's for another time. Really nice. I've got a couple of these. I'd like to get a couple more and just do a 5-man Horus team would be cool. Horus Heresy comes in next. Now I've got a bit of a meme list of a whole load of contenders, but you need to take a tactical squad. So I threw together some tactical marines and happened to pull one of those for the Advent challenge. Interestingly, so the bases I cut down and then just filled with skulls. So you've got all these skulls then, which are all just layered dry brushing, and then worked from greys up to white for the armour. I might add blood splatters to the bases and not the minis in a bit of a change from everyone's gore-soaked World Eaters, but I'm not sure yet. Otherwise, fairly straightforward paint job. I've got a handful of clear printed minis because you do a whole batch at once when you're 3D printing. And we had this lovely little goblin lass who is also going to join my Old World Goblin army as a mage. So she's got this really clear long cloak and otherwise fairly straightforward. Would have been nice if she'd come separate to the base, but this is just one piece. Would have been nice to have the separate to the stool. Then you could print multiples off and just have her sit on things. Now it's possible just to cut the mini down, but yeah, would have been nice. Fairly straightforward, but again, lovely character on the mini there. Now I pulled a random printed mini, which is a little child Medusa or Gorgon, depending on your stance. I painted her to match a really nice animation that I saw on the YouTube a while back. And when this mini come up, it's just like, oh, just reminded me of the animation. I could do it going back and sorting the eyes out. In the cartoon, she's got red pupils on white scleraris. But I need to go back and sort that out. And the snakes are all painted just like in the cartoon, little yellow eyes. Really fun little sculpt. Don't know what to use it for, but sometimes you paint minis for the sake of it. Artisan Guild come in for the next slot. Now, for my Amazons for Old World, I'm mainly using Artisan Guild and Twin Goddess. So it's actually a different sculptor to the previous Barbarian, but they fit together so well. Now, they do the saber-toothed tiger riders. I've done slight conversion work digitally to give them a flail. It's not quite a flail, but I don't know what that would be classed as. Fairly straightforward. Again, white armor to match. I was going to add tiger stripes to the saber-tooth, but it would have been too busy, I think. There's quite a lot of detail there. And when all's said and done, this is a marauder horseman, so they're not known for being massively worth the effort. But fun nonetheless. And it was nice to practice the oranges, because I've got to do whole units of these. Next up, we come up with a Martian Miniatures, their Grimcute chibi line. We've seen a few of these before. We've seen the combat patrols I've painted, and I pulled just a random. He's going to be leading one of the Catachans, although he's wearing the Cadian armor. It's like a colonel. And painted it up to match a certain film. Dylan. Yeah. Quite, again, really characterful, really nice, really straightforward paint jobs for the chibi stuff. It's quite fun. Next up was something interesting. For Christmas, just before Christmas Eve, we've got a games group on a Friday, and I wrote a little skirmish game where players took control of food items and fought snowmen. So fairly straightforward paint job for this guy. Lovely little 3D printed files. Files you get 3D printed. I haven't done things like sigils in the book because again I was under a bit of a time pressure, so I had to paint a half dozen of these and a load of snowmen. But it looks good on the tabletop, and that's all that was needed for a quick fun demo game. Classic Blood Angels come up next. I got all the way through painting this sergeant for the Devastators, and then realised I've done his pads wrong. So I've got to go back, redo his pads, and then I'll do all his iconography at the same time. But as you can imagine, we're under quite a time constraint to get these minis all done on top of, working and real life. But quite a straightforward paint job. You'll see the rest of them in the previous videos on how I did the techniques for that. Food guys pop up again. They're going to come up next few as well. This guy is a chocolate cake blacksmith. So I've gone for the different sponges and different to the chocolate layering on top, different browns mixed in there. But whereas the savoury guys are all in red, the sweet guys are all in green. I might go back and take this up to like an almost neon green, but again, time constraints, so fairly basic. But really characterful, really clean sculpts. I really like them. Now, we have an actual Christmas mini in the next spot. This is another Twin Goddess minis. A succubus in Christmas star with her Santa hat, her gloves, and fishnets. Christmas fishnets, as you do. Quite straightforward. It was nice to do the difference in the reds, so you can see the hat's different to the skin, and then it's different again when they're under the fishnets. Santa traditionally for me is in green, but I know social acceptance is red, so I followed that because that would then give me the three colours. I think green would have contrasted too much. But quite a fun little Christmas mini. Again, it's another Twin Goddess. We're back with more food fight. This time a jelly crossbowman. I've taken the green up. I might take this up another one and then make all his clothes this green. I'm not sure yet. But obviously jelly can be any colour. I thought green would go really well. Help identify the factions. So you can see they've painted in fairly similar greens. But this could do with go into a higher. That'd be another mini that would be really good in clear, I think. Marching Miniatures have got their own range of little chibi miniatures on top of the 40k stuff. And this here is a Tachikoma. Now, I'm a massive Ghost in the Shell fan. All the different medias, and it was really fun to print this little guy off and paint him up. So we see we got difference in the whites, the greys, different shades of grey. Picked out the little indicators. But again, really cool little mini. No real use for him, but sometimes it's nice to paint minis just for the sake of it. Final food fight item is this Donut Cleric. Now, I followed The Simpsons' colourings for the donut. And again, he's got the green clothes. like the rest of them, but threw a touch of red in for the book just to help it stand out. I'd like to go over this yellow with some Hex Wraith to give it like a greenish yellow look, but again, timings. It was quite fun. Now, another thing I'm a big fan of is the Discworld, and we pulled Magrat Garlic on a Broom. This is by Micro Art Studios. They've got the license to the Paul Kidby style Discworld minis. So we got Magrat, I've checked already, Magrat's black cloak, her pale green dress that she wore in Weird Sisters, I believe. But all of this is an integral base, so it's got like a topper, the upright that she sits in, and that's a really nice counterbalance. She stands really well. Really characterful minis to paint. We followed up with another Twin Goddess mini, this time a Valkyrie, wearing not a lot and with a great big girt long spear. We can see that very curved style. These lovely little metal bracelet. You can see he's just digging in slightly, and just long flowing hair. All the flowing ribbons. Could have done them different colours. If I had had time, I'd have gone for green and white. I think would have been a nice standout and very Christmassy. But again, just time was against me. This is a large, that's about a 40mm mini, so, but they were sculpted in pairs, so you've got one with a spear and then one with the shields. She's got two shields, lovely. Again, nice detailing, nice flow, nice movement with the mini. She's wearing even less, but this is the sort of cream I'd have gone and then gone for the top into green. Would have been nice, but I got the two to contrast, so they stand out well together. She's got a matching bracelet. Again, really characterful, really lovely sculpts. 23rd mini was a random 3D print I pulled offline. Some chibi style Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we've got Donatello, who is certainly one of my favourites. Fairly straightforward paint job. I've gone slightly darker than the cartoon. I know there's been various iterations, but the 90s one will always be the one I think of. But yeah, really fun. You might get used to burrows and badgers, all depending. Then finally, for 24th, I specifically pulled a Christmas mini. This is, I believe, last year's Twin Goddess Christmas Goblin, printed at 75mm. So she's quite a bit bigger. That's a 40mm base, but still smaller than a 75mm model. Because it's a goblin. Again, standard green for all my goblins done in this tones. This is War Boss up to Warpstone. Gone for a red Christmas dress because the green Christmas dress would have been too much. And I like the little tag, the bells and the ribbons. So fairly standard paint job. Well, not a lot of colour, but I think quite a nice little job and very Christmassy. So yeah, again, it's a really fun project. I'd recommend it. If you ever get the opportunity, you don't know what to do, just pull a random mini. I'm going to try doing some more random minis for paint jobs. But again, editing these videos is a bit of a nightmare at the moment for me, as well as doing the voiceovers. But there'll be a gallery linked at some point when I get them all uploaded. But as always, thanks for watching and have fun.